but time to do a little bit of catch up and install something cool. I spend a lot more time a little northern Ontario around the Tobermory area, and the cell signal sucks. Like 1 bar of LTE, if I'm lucky. So occasionally it'll go up to 2. Not many times it'll just drop down to SOS, so I can't make any connections or cell calls except for emergency ones only. So got something a little, hopefully to be useful. See how well it actually is going to work. Anything better than 1 bar is going to help. But it's a Telincall, some generic name. And it's funny. The manual, cell phone booster. The sticker on the back says, "In fixed location for in-building use." I guess there you cover your ass. Well, they didn't read the whole instruction, so it's like, whatever. So we'll see. This is covers the Bell signal towers and a bunch of others too, Rogers and whatnot. So it's going to go mounted there. So gotta do a little bit of cleanup on it in the area. I've added some double-sided alien tape. See, that should be enough. I mean, it's got a little bit of weight to it, but it's sitting up there, and even if it falls, it goes into the little catch area right here. So we should see, but I'll make sure the area is clean so that the tape holds well enough. And of course, I have my coffee o'clock alarm and a fruit explosion muffin. And I hear a lot of good stuff about Tim Hortons. So Tim Hortons, you picking up this? Get your shit together, because you're just falling apart. This is just only because it was convenient, but it's not critical. And if I get annoyed enough and I'm getting there, I'll just go somewhere else to get my coffee or make my own or whatever, like I've done in the past. All right, so we need a place to set you up so that you can see most of what's going on. I don't have my tripod, so I'm gonna find a spot to mount this in, or just set this so that it actually will cover the area. That seems to be reasonable. Alright, first we clean the area. Alright, so we'll go over the quick little components. So you've got the booster repeater itself. Power cable, just simple 12 volt, actually has a USB-A and a PD20 USB-C. Handy, but since it's going back here, still be handy. Now this particular 12 volt, which I've got a splitter on to run my fan, I'd almost want to not use the splitter anymore, but it's there. I'll just keep using it. And plug this into the other part, and it gives me still a USB-C port, because the fan just runs off a USB-C. So convenient enough. But this particular 12 volt port only works when the car is on. So I'm not worried about this running and killing any power. Now there was a mod that I could do to make this live all the time, but then I would have to add a switch in so I know if it's not running or something. So for now, being on when the car is on, limitation is good enough. So let's see. That's good enough. Your antenna, that's a mag mount, and the internal antenna, which repeats the signal that it's being boosted. Okay, a little bit of cleaning. peel off the other side of the backing. And we stick this up. Now they do say to mount it under the seats, but my seats move around too much, especially when I'm out camping. You know, the passenger seat moves back and forth a lot. So to hold it for how long, we'll see. But I could put a couple of screws in there if it becomes a real problem, so it falls down. But step by step, we'll do one thing at a time here. This is power. Let's see, the outdoor antenna. Also needs a little bit of cleaning. I break for dogs. Alright. Yeah, a bunch of crap always gets built up in there. Definitely needs some cleaning up around. So I'll show you the antenna. We're going to have the antenna over on this. I can't see the screen because of the sun. So the antenna is going to just out up here. I'm just run the wire down, across, and down and in. Nothing too complex. Hey Anthony, Amelia. So just doing cell phone booster antenna because I drive a little further up north Ontario and get one signal in so many areas once I get past Guelph. So just doing some cleaning, installing. So I just had some double-sided tape, put that up there. I might go to screws if that tape really doesn't hold, but yeah, we'll see. All right. I don't know. Mounting this. I don't have a proper hold for this right now because my tripod is not here. Friend borrowed it and I just haven't put it back in the vehicle. But mag antenna. I'm just gonna tuck this in and around so it kind of self-holds. Now it came with a bunch of little clips about the cable, so I'll put those on after and see. It's probably I cleaned the area just so this has the little clips, but might end up having to go with like there's a really heavy duty duct tape, nylon tape for things like this to stick to the car body. Usually used on rooftops of RVs to seal up fans or whatever they have cut in their roofs holes. And it's very stupidly good. Yes, my coffee o'clock. My coffee alarm went on. Here it is. Alright, well, just run the rest of the antenna. This is nothing too complicated. And not even terribly entertaining. So we'll bother filming that part. Try to be a little tricksy so that the wire stays out of the way as much as possible, so I don't have to think about it. Of course, today it's being all kinds of inflexible and going in areas that we don't really want it to, but here we are. I'm just checking to see if there's another way to route it. Maybe route it's a little more hidden, but yeah. This is the first test. Okay. Let's hook up the outdoor antenna. Yeah, this is really simple stuff. 12 volt and 2 screw-on connectors. It's crazy easy. So anyone can put one of these in the cars. If you can plug a 12 volt power adapter in, you can install one of these. They are really, really simple. And this is the power, the USB power for my fan. I have a fan! Yay! So if you guys are asking questions, because I'm not right at the antenna, obviously, or the speaker. Normally I have my headphones on. I do have them, because it usually gets better sound at that point. Alright, so 2 things hooked up. Only thing up is the internal antenna. Now they do say to put this at least 2 feet away from the booster, because there's some magnetic interference. So you don't want this interfering with the signal. I did a quickie test setup last night, and in my area I get about 3 bars of LTE. But when I put that on there, I found it didn't change. Well, that's interesting. So I grabbed some cell signal finder apps. Most of them just say, yeah, there's a tower there. You can test speed, but that's not what you need to test. You need to test the signal strength. So I found there's a code you can put into your cell phone. It's like on your dialing pad. There are certain key number and codes you can put in to get information back from the network. So I found that, but they said, oh, yeah, you put this code in and it goes to this menu and tap this. But I did that. I got a special menu, but it didn't let me go any further. I couldn't do anything with it. Still not giving me signal strength. Here we are. So I said, okay, well, it's not doing anything. I was waiting for this to kind of, hook up, connect, and match up with the signals, and it seemed to do it. I'm just wondering, okay, well, when you do it, how does my phone know that this is another cell antenna, basically like your carrier antenna? It really doesn't. Well, it might see it, but it's already connected. So I put my phone in airplane mode, waited a second or two, turned it out of airplane mode. And you know what? It connects to the strongest, closest signal, which was this. Suddenly it went up to 4 bars. I went, well, it does work. So got this off of Amazon. It was like 200 bucks Canadian, 209. It was the cheapest options I could find. There's lots of many other options. WeBoost is the most popular, common one. But the WeBoost Drive Reach, I think is their model number. It's like $900. I went, man, you gotta be kidding me. That's I'm sure they're good units. I'll buy it, certainly, but like $1,000. Okay, that's a little more rich for what I need at the moment. This is a step. And if it works well enough for what I need right now, so be it. Maybe down the road, if I want a better quality one, if I start doing a lot more remote videos or streaming of things, like some heavy duty stuff, then maybe I'll step up, put money aside and whatnot. But for now, this seems to do the job. So the only job is I need to figure out where to put this guy. Now it's got, obviously you can see the double-sided tip. So I can put it pretty much anywhere. I mean, there's more than enough cable. So I'm gonna put this somewhere about the middle of the vehicle, probably around the B pillar. And if you're wondering what B pillars is, these are all nicknamed pillars. Your front ones are A, the next ones are B, next ones are C's, next ones are D's. So I have A, B, C, and D because I have mid doors that open up. So probably just above the B pillar would be my guess. Yeah, because it's got to be a little more reasonably away from here. I mean, I could run it all the way to the other side, around, but again, how much work do I want to do tucking in cables as it is. I gotta tuck it in behind some of the plastic, but then there's a part above my rear side door that there's no plastic to tuck in. I might be able to run it down and around under some of the rubber trim, maybe? We'll have to kind of see on that. And let me take a look here. Anybody said anything? Oh, just more. Hey, David. But it doesn't give me a time stamp when people said anything, so we'll see. In case anyone totally new here, and I believe most of you are, this is a 2003 Honda Element. Now I've currently set up in camp mode. That's my air mattress. That goes to the top of a cot, and I have a cot that goes here. It fits in here. My passenger seat goes forward, the cot folds open, fits in here nicely. This is super comfy for one person. I recently did the crates, so it's got all my stuff in it. But you know, my propane tank, which I leave here. I've got extra equipment, towels, tools, camping stuff. You know, so works well. Those are my empty water balls, which I got to go and fill to take with me again, because I go up the area. Well, so far I've been going for the last 5 weeks, and it's been really, really well. But so I'm thinking maybe mounting. Oh, it's hard with it. Some beating on the screen there. Maybe mounting the antenna right to that piece of plastic there. I want to get a little industrious, I could move it over to that one, but that one's got previous owner put the hook up there, and I don't use it for anything, so maybe it might fit underneath it and just run things around if I want to go around that way. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think I'll put it over to this side because it's still a short distance. Like the distance for my phone, which sits on the mount there, is not going to be a difference there or there, and this is just easier. So go for the easier route. Now this has this plastic trim. I can tuck the wiring behind and run around, but there's no plastic trim over there. So I'll have to see if I can get it underneath the rubber trim or just run straight across to the other piece of plastic trim and then down that way. That's going to be the goal. Oh, last of the nice summer days. It's tomorrow. I think is officially the first day of fall, but weather really doesn't follow a calendar. Coffee o'clock. All right. Let's get the antenna put in and see how that goes. So the idea is to mount the antenna like there. And that's out of the way. And that would do it fine. And the wire can just run back and around. I wonder if I can do it this way to run the wire back, just to use up some of the slack. I mean, this direction doesn't really make much of a difference. So, cleaning. In case you were wondering, front door opens, side door opens. Barn doors, suicide doors. I'm sorry, you're not supposed to use that word these days, it seems. Carriage doors. I think that the unused, or the non-supposed used term for the word is a dumb one. Anyways. Okay, let's turn this around. Let's see what I can get done here. Yeah, most of my videos are usually pretty low-key, nothing too fancy. A little bit of instructional. Oh, the dollar store. Glass cleaner. Just clean the surface so the glue has a better hold on it. Yeah, I need a light cleaning. Yeah, that'll be fine. 3M VHB tape. You can buy this stuff off Amazon or even Temu or AliExpress. It's the same tape, but it's really, really good stuff. It's the stuff that's used to hold emblems on cars, so Can be a little pricey, but get it from AliExpress, it's cheaper. It's the same stuff. Oh, try not to drop this because if this gets in the dirt, you're screwed. Alright, John, that might be just a little too much information, but hey, you do you. Okay, sorry, I just need to kind of get this out of the way. Ah, there we go. One attached antenna. So there it is, stuck on. I'm gonna run the wire, curve it up, back, behind, and then down. I don't know if I can necessarily get into there, because that's just pretty flush, but I could. Might be able to make use of that after all. Or I could find a better setup for the camera. Kind of the problem when you're doing stuff yourself and live, where, and especially if you're moving around a vehicle, you don't know where to put the camera half the time. But maybe we could just go to a wider angle, and that might be good enough. Good enough. This looks nice. It'd be just so nice to have a decent cell phone signal when I'm out there. I mean, I'm at my buddy's cottage. I could sleep in the cottage if I want to. But the whole point of me getting this was to go camping. I mean, prior to getting this, it's like I hadn't been camping in 2 years. Actually, maybe even 3. No, complained about the whole pandemic thing. That killed a lot of time where you just couldn't go out. Yes, being near people, small rant incoming. Being near people was bad, so you can't socialize. But you can't go camping, where you're the most furthest away from people. Which is the dumbest thing. Oh, you overrun hospitals. Like, the hell you will. But, you know, all difference between a conspiracy theorist and reality, 6 months, maybe 12. Then all this stuff come up. But I digress. Let's get back to doing some of the cool stuff. So the last 5 weeks, I've basically been doing nothing but camping 4 days a week at my friend's place. I think there was only one night that I went and slept in. I slept inside. Maybe 2. Yeah, there was 2. So the second one, the temperature dropped a lot, and it was rainy, damp, and really cold. Technically, I have a heater I can use in here. Got a nice propane heater, but it's a hassle to set up. I didn't want to set it up, so I just slept on his couch. It's fine. The other time is he's got a workshop with a room above it, and there's a heater in the shop that can run downstairs and run upstairs. And it was reasonable, but the problem is setting up the cot, because I have a cot. On top of that, I've got the air pad, and then I've got a blanket that sits on top of the air pad, and then I have a blanket that goes with me and my pillow. I can't bring those up in one shot. It's like 3 trips up and down steps, and that's just too much. Just for, you know, and it's a reasonable space. It's warm. But it wasn't necessary. So try to keep things simple, you know. Okay. Let's see if we can back up here again. Get this guy installed. Well, this is going in way better than I expected, which is nice. Now, I've documented so much of what I've done on my other channel, because the other channel I do most of the stuff here, and only because this was my first YouTube channel. I have another one called Elemental Journey, but because I just started it, there's like 43 subscribers, so I can't do live videos until I get to 50. So if you're here watching, go subscribe to the other one. I move these live videos over there anyway, so they'll be posted there. But I would appreciate it. Elemental Journey -DD. Dragon Dawn. Hi. So this is going to turn out so nice. Now the question would be is how do I bring it down? See, because going along here is fine, but coming down, that'd be a future dawn problem once I get over to that area. Then I'll go do another recap of what I've got set up here. It's really comfortable. These things are really comfortable. Like, well, certainly for me, not for two people. That's the real problem. So there's gonna be another change to this. I think I'm gonna put a platform in here, a folding platform. Use the crates as the base. Put a folded piece of wood covered on top of that, and then I can just fold things up and get access to things. But that'll have to be thought out pretty well because I still will need extra room. Like for example, my propane tank, it's higher than the crate. So that piece will either have to be left out. I'm almost tempted to leave it in and make it into a little mini backrest, but we'll see. I mean, the propane tank can be put on its side. I would ideally like to get a rear tire mount. So I might look into the trailer hitch spare tire mounts, move the spare tire. That frees up room because there's a big chunk of room underneath the floor here for storing things. And, you know, move some lithium batteries, or someone put the diesel heater in that area. All right, let's get back to this. Oh, that's really tight here, man. I might have just enough. I don't. Yeah, don't mind the wheezing guy. Okay. Now we'll have to move the camera so you can still see what's going on. Alright. So baseball season is still going on here, so I have cars coming in and out. Coffee o'clock. So I still have to go. I'll move the camera around. So I have to run across here. Now the antenna's got to come down to here at some point. So I can run across there, down behind there. I'll move my fan out of the way. And hopefully I got enough to run down to here and here, but actually I think I do. I think there's just enough to do exactly where I want to go. So, let's see. Sometimes you'd be thankful for plastic panels. Now, because my cargo net is in the way, it makes it a little more challenging. Not impossible though. It does get through. I'm sure I'll be able to tighten this up. It's amazing. I'm very happy this goes so well. Usually when you're doing projects, you over plan things. Well, I do. I mean, I over plan things and I want to do this and this and this. I mean, these Honda Elements, you can. There are all-wheel drive versions. Well, Honda calls them four-wheel drive. You can do a conversion on this, and apparently on mine, because it's a 5-speed manual front-wheel drive, the conversion is pretty easy. Okay. Not do have some fairy lights in here. They were put in here by the previous owner, and they come in really handy at night. Nice casual light without being too bright and not attracting too much attention, or bugsy for that matter. That's gonna be the fun part, because that's a really tight piece of plastic. Whew, look at that. Oh, it goes so well. Thank you for all that convenience. Okay, now this is the only part I can't really tuck in, can I? I don't think I can. How well that it tucks in there. Oh, I'm so happy. Making things just gotta work, you know? I've had a nice little plastic wedge. I could force things in here, but I certainly don't want to damage the wire. I do have handy dandy mini broom with a soft rubber edge, which I might be able to help wedge the wire in there. Because it doesn't hurt it, it doesn't hurt the wire. Well, obviously no sharp edges. It's amazing how well that's working. Now, coming down to here, I think I will be able to, no place to wedge it into, because this piece right here is really, it's a really tight fit. So that would have to hang down. Barely any slack, which is super handy. And then connect. Which is slightly awkward, but not slightly awkward, but not impossible. Okay. This antenna thing, maybe I will run it differently. I'm running the inside here. A lot of extra slack with it. Yeah, I would run it different. I don't like it loose out there. It's kind of dangling. I mean, if you're gonna do something, do it right. There's a balance to everything, of course. Oh, I might be able to do other stuff. Hang on. So I'm thinking, because right now, the antenna sits there, and the wire comes in. And got it coming down this way. I know I can kind of tuck it in somewhere. I can go a little under here, but maybe I'll come in through here and get into this piece of plastic here and run down. That's a lot neater than this and using clips. The little plastic clips will go on there. They won't have to worry about anything leaking, that's for sure. Now, most of the time I'm not worried about a wire running across here, because the rain usually comes here and comes down, it doesn't come in through here. So, run on the inside there. Just which side to run that wire. I kind of like it over there, just because it kind of keeps it away from possibly rubbing. Scoot it in there, just tuck it in behind. I wish it would stay inside this little piece here. I just turn that so that the wire is off to the side, just to kind of keep it away from this. Not that I'm overly worried about that rubbing too much. but it's there. That's going to help. And then do a loop and get it in behind there. Okay, I have a plan. Okay, now try to find a good place to set you guys up without being in the sun, without handling the camera. Yeah, reasonable enough. Coffee o'clock. You know, see, everything's pretty much held down by bungee cords because you don't need anything too fancy, and just keeps it from moving around. And that's all you really need. Now, let's see how much I can get underneath here. This might even be easier than I thought. I'm gonna try it this way. Sometimes things work out really well. Or you know what? Maybe I do want to run it on the inside of that track. Just an extra little bit of tucking in. I've had this wire here for a while, and it's for a backup camera, but the backup camera is not running at the moment. But I think I'll try to get that connected and running before the weather gets too cold. Needle two, almost professional. One of the things I'm trying to do, consider setting up, is a nice little support system for van lifers. I'm a techie by heart, so I've done a lot of techie, but do a more broad support system for not only just tech stuff, but solar setups, things like this. Things that really matter when you need the help. I can even do this remotely too. Hence, adding this in here. Give me better connections that help people better. I think that would be useful for a lot of people. Now, granted, a lot of companies have support, and that's perfectly fine, but not everybody does. And sometimes that support doesn't extend to buying things used, because not everybody can afford so much stuff brand new. This isn't quite lining up, but good enough for government work, as they say. Now, I've got this down to about the split level in the trim where it goes from the gray to the darker black charcoal. Oh, look at that. Now, where to bring it in? I think I want to keep it away from the tailgate. It's easy enough to just kind of even make a little hole or something like that if I really wanted to. If the trim pieces were a little easier to take out, and they're not really meant to be easy to take out, I get that. But just kind of do this. It keeps it out of the way enough. There's only a little bit of slack, which is convenient. Yeah, that's a Tesla backing up, by the way, Model X. That alien noise, I think it's useful enough. You know what? I can keep the excess wire out of the way, right behind the other stuff. Just really hard to get at this stupid wire, and it's just the most awkward angle for my hands here. here. There we go. And now, hook up the other antenna. Now, because I'm doing a live stream, I can't properly test this because once you sell, you're locked onto an antenna, onto your carrier antenna. It's not going to just generally hop. Unless you're moving, you get a really weak signal. So, can't do a proper test until obviously after I'm disconnected from here. Which we did in live stream, which I won't end just yet. I'll do testing later. I might even do a separate video for that. That looks good. Yeah. Go back over here. So I ran the wire down here. I'm gonna go in here. I think now I'll use one of these clips. I want to clean the surface. And why am I'm sure you're asking, am I using window cleaner? Window cleaner is actually a good general cleaner because it has alcohol. Alcohol will break up any oils that build up on the surface. So between grabbing the dirt, grab the oils, so it keeps things clean. Now let's see how best to use this guy. Oh, perfect. Just the perfect size. It was like it was meant for something. Yeah. That clips the wire in place. Oops. That foam does have to stay there for a while. And even if this foam doesn't hold, I don't care. I've got alien tape. This is double-sided gel tape. Gel tape is generally pretty good, but not as good as the 3M tape. The 3M tape is really expensive relative to not just the cheap. This is still 3M, but it's not their VHB tape. Very high bonding, I believe, is what it stands for. I'll put another one here, just keep the wire down out of the way. And you can see, picks up dirt, gets rid of any oils, like your fingers will leave oil. So every time you touch the surface, it's technically dirtying it. But down the middle. And dropped. Because the tape wasn't adhesed. Adhesed? There's the word of the day. Adhesed. Alright, well, that's not the big of a deal. I'll find it later. It doesn't have to be a strong hold, it just has to hold it out of the way. And might even be able to. Oh. A little closer would have been nicer. I've got two wires coming down here. I've got the front and the back antenna, but I didn't quite plan that out perfect. Put my fan back out of the way, and maybe I'll do this a little better here. So I can get all three wires coming down here. All three wires, yay! But we'll just do 3 wires. Maybe not. No, we only fit 2. It's okay. That's all I need. really isn't meant for, look, good enough for government work, as they say. Oh, installed. I'll at least go and put the car power on. So I was just thinking, I have an idea. See, you can, your ignition switch obviously has multiple positions you can put it in. First accessory, second run, third is a temporary, and it's the start part. But when you put an accessory, you get obviously power to your radio and other things like that. But I also found out, because there's a 12-volt outlet on the dash factory, I've added an extra one, that when you put power in there, that gets power to the system like it was in accessory mode. I have a 12-volt battery, lithium, a 50 amp hour lithium. This is how I figured out how to get some power to a vehicle that had a dead battery, and the hood was just literally, the latch was seized closed. That was a pain. But I was able to put power to it, and then I can then read the computer and codes and whatnot. Handy little trick. I could do the same here. What I don't know if that accessory mode will run this if I run power to it. So when you give power to the vehicle from that. I will have to give that a shot. Because then you can run this without having the vehicle turn on any extra systems running. They don't necessarily need to be running. I think I can do that. But then there's no real need. I can test that later. I just want to make sure that, power's running back here just fine. So, hang on. As long as the music doesn't start up, I'm not going to get dinged. And look, I got power. Give me no music, so I gotta stop it anyways. So, that worked as it should. I'm gonna take a break. Fruit explosion muffin. It's got like cranberries and raisins and stuff inside here, and some sort of filling, fruity filling inside. Nice and sweet. There you go. Well, that was a nice and simple install. I like that. Worked out, obviously, meant to be. Then move this camera a little closer so I can see if anybody says anything. There you go. So, more faithful people are showing up. 11 o'clock. I mean, another warm day out today. So, your camping setup worked really well. Again, I would like it to be okay for 2 people. For the platform, I don't know how comfortable it's really going to be. Like, this cot, no word of a lie, been the most comfortable thing I've slept on in years. I also have a hammock, which I have, and I'm going to actually test out in here. I need to get one more book to put in the front and test a resting, maybe even sleep one night, see how that goes. Cause that'd be interesting. I've never slept entirely, but I've had naps and but I've never slept a whole night in one. Hammocks are super comfy. Platform is hard. This AirPad does a really nice job at making things comfortable for me and my back. Some people don't like it. That's fine. For the AirPad, I have slept on this on a harder floor on the back of a vehicle. It was okay. Now I can always get, memory foam like everybody does, which I probably will do. But there's a balance. Because the crates will go up so high, the platform, maybe another inch. I'll cover the platform. I'll get some of that gray carpeting speaker type material. And to keep it clean. And then get a piece of foam and put on top of that. Try it with the mattress first. I might not even need the foam. Now the cool thing about these AirPads, when I got them, come in a pack of two. There's little buttons, you can snap them together, so it become double wide. The reason I got this is I had one full air mattress. Go camping with a friend of mine, but she only weighs like 90 pounds, and at that time I was 240. Bro, I turn on the air mattress and she's like bouncing around. So I got the AirPads because they're separate, two separate pieces, and that was much more comfortable. But we'll put the air mattress. I'll put the two pieces in. Well, I have lots of room to spread out. But I'm by myself, obviously. I'll double check. I'm pretty sure running that propane tank on its side is not going to be a big deal. At which point, I'll turn it on its side, and then it would be low enough profile. I'm happy how neat that install connector. I really am. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a complicated thing to make you happy. It just feels good to get things done and your day just work. The performance things. Like right now, I still have 3 bars of LTE. Now it's not going to change. Well, A, not turn it on, and B, I have to tell the phone to connect. But to change connections, I have to, stop the live stream. We don't want to do that. This is actually nice. Now the fan, 2 purposes. First purpose is because my AC doesn't work. I think it just needs to be charged. I just haven't bothered putting any money into it. Haven't had a lot of extra spare just to throw into it. But I need something to move air around, because the first winter, that was a pain because these windows would fog up. So I got a little fan to move air around, because I do have hot air running, but it's just nothing blowing on the windows or whatnot. And especially this one, because the one right behind me, that's the passenger side, the one I use to look back on when I'm driving. Maybe a little 12-volt heater. Promised to be, there's no flowers in here. There we go. And away he goes. Didn't even say hi. How rude. Anyways, so I got a 12-volt heater. We'll go there in a second. And just aim that at the front windshield. Well, these aren't, they had suggested those for heating up the vehicles, during cold months, but not a great idea, because they're so A, inefficient, and B, unregulated, in the sense that it's just like a heating element that just runs as long as you have power. So you could kill your car battery running it. It would chew through power like no tomorrow. But given that I'm only running it while I'm in it, that's fine. So message? No. So I just have it pointing at the windshield so it can help defrost the windows. Oddly enough, it wasn't as frosty, it wasn't as humid. There wasn't much fog on the windows last winter. But then again, I generally leave this button on. So this thing's generally always running. So as soon as I turn the vehicle on, power comes to here, this turns on. And it's going to be the same for the cell phone booster now. So this helps circulate air and keeps the moisture. In any vehicle that you're camping in, or living in, and living in more important, airflow is king. Now, everyone thinks you're rolling up your windows and keeping all the heat in. Yeah, but the worst problem is you're keeping all the moisture in. So moisture gets into the area, and moisture sitting and gathering creates mold. Mold makes you sick, and then it just goes downhill from there. So you need airflow. You need air moving the vehicle. And so I've got my two rear windows. They pop open a little bit. So they just pop open. So I have those two open, even when I have Reflectix in, covering the windows. I still have some airflow in here. I have a fan blowing in here. I have a carbon monoxide detector, so even if I'm running my propane heater, I've got airflow, fan, and we're good. I actually have a second, the rechargeable fan that sits on the dash, and I will blow on that because moisture collects on the temperature differences. So warm inside, cold outside, that's where the moisture is going to be. So as long as you got air flowing, that will move the humid air around and stop it from collecting, condensation, if you will, onto glass surfaces. So that's how I control the airflow. And with the windows open and the covers over it, it stops a complete airflow, like breeze through here in the middle of the night. So in the last winter I did a test and was trying to see what it was like to do a time lapse of the blood moon that happened. And my iPad didn't take the greatest video of that, time lapse of that. So, but it was a test nonetheless. But I had everything up, the heater on and sitting in here, and it worked. Didn't get any condensation. I was planning on actually just sleeping there, but it was like, I just didn't feel like it. So I drove home. It would have been really cool in the morning, but that's okay. But yeah, airflow. You get the airflow there, so you open your windows up even just a half an inch. And many of the operation manuals for propane heaters tell you how much airflow you need. And just to get a little into the propane heaters, now a lot of people generalize because of like the Mr. Buddy or the Mr. Heater Buddy heaters. So Mr. Heater is the company, Buddy is the model of the particular heater. Those ones use a flame that run across a ceramic surface. Everybody sees that. And that's how it generates the heat. It heats up the ceramic surface for the flame going across, so then it emanates that. It radiates out. But that's not the only type of heater. I mean, yeah, there's electrical ones, but they're so inefficient, especially relative to the amount of power that most people have. And you never really want to run off your car battery, because you kill that, then what? You can't even start the car. You're out of everything. So separate battery. And even if you get a little 50 amp hour lithium battery, that'll run a lot of stuff for a lot of time. I happen to have two. I don't usually keep two. I'm gonna keep one in the car, and I don't even. The last couple weeks, I haven't even really used it much. Mostly, if I run out of power, like my iPad or phone or something, I'll just plug that into there. I have a couple of small battery banks, and those usually do be fine for the week. But it just gives me those batteries, the lithium ones, give me an extra source to charge things up with. And I use my car battery a little bit, but it's an upgraded battery. So I got a big battery. I got lots of power in there, so I'm not ever worried about it. I'm not running power hungry things. If I charge my watch from the car or whatever, it's fine. I picked up a 50,000 milliamp hour power bank off of Amazon, and that's a bit of a beast. And that runs this fan, charges my watch, and I plug my phone into overnight. And I have a snore detection app, I just to track things and sleep. And that battery runs all those every night, so 4 nights a week. and I still have power at the end of the week. So it does well. I don't use a ton of power, um, and I don't run my iPad off of it because I don't need to. The iPad is usually it's got lots of power and it does well for the entire week. Even my Bluetooth headphone wireless earbuds, they work great. Actually, they last for the whole week and don't need charging. I think it's almost a week and a half, I would say. That's not quite accurate, but let's say a week and a half to 2 weeks before I need to charge those things up. But power, airflow, where the heck was I again? Trains derailed a little bit there. But maybe we can do a little bit of another little quick tour. Oh, heaters. That's where I was originally. So the other type of propane heater is a catalytic style. Now, if you're going to live in a small confined space like a vehicle, a van, car, whatever, the catalytic style is what you want because those don't burn in open flame. Now, everyone's heard of cars and catalytic converters. Catalytic propanes are the same thing. In a car, a catalytic converter takes the exhaust gas, runs it across a combination of metals, platinum being a common one, and the gas reacts with the metal, chemically reacts, and burns extra. So, when I have a catalytic propane here, what do you think it does? It reacts to platinum that's in a substrata, like say cotton, not quite exact, but it's in I'll say asbestos, but that's going to sound bad. It's in a material that doesn't burn, or if it burns at really high temperature, higher than what the heater does. And then the propane just reacts with it and just instantly burns. So there's no open flame. Open flame means no carbon monoxide, no moisture results. Because that's where you get most of your moisture. That's where people say, don't run a buddy heater in a car, you get condensation from the burning of the flame. But the catalytic style ones do not burn. They create so little moisture, if any, usually right at the beginning. Because when the flame comes through, I will use a lighter to help catch it, so that the propane, pardon me, when the propane comes through, I'll use a lighter to catch it and help start the little burning process. But after a minute or so, that's it. It just burns its own thing. It does its own thing. It's stupidly warm too. I mean, inside the Honda Element, I mean, what have I got? 10 square feet, so maybe 100 cubic. Not 100 cubic feet. That doesn't seem to make a lot, but maybe 85 cubic feet. It's very, very small, anyways. And even that's a little too warm for it. I have to regulate it, on, off, whatever. But I've also, on my particular heater, it has a built-in fan, so it's actually blowing air to move it around too. Originally, the ones I have, the Coleman ProCat, it ran on a bunch of D-cell batteries. Well, I converted that to a battery pack. Now it's a rechargeable battery pack that runs that fan. So much easier, so much more convenient to do. Another car just pulling in, all the baseball stuff going on. So, yeah, the catalytic converters, and you can buy them new and used. They're catalytic ones. I think Martin is another one that makes it. Olympia company makes a brand. Usually the Wave 3, Wave 4, I think they got a new one out. Those are another style that I've seen used, and a catalytic style. So much better to use. So the more you know. I've got a propane stove, and I've got also have another hose that has a splitter. So if I need to run both, I can. And this I got not quite your regular barbecue tank. Mine's smaller, but it's not the 1 pound ones. Because those 1 pound ones are ridiculously expensive to run. I mean, you can spend what, 20 bucks for a pack of 3. I mean, I think I got a bigger one. This is 10-gallon one. I'll have to double check the size. When I got it, last year I filled up, and it's still got tons in it. No, I haven't used all that much. but it's so much, the propane is so cheap to fill. So just get a bigger tank, and then you get a hose with the adapter, so that goes from the full size propane tank to the small size on the heaters that for the little um, green canisters. I have one green canister as a backup, so if I happen to run out of the big one, I got a backup to keep me going for a little bit more. But I'm not usually that far out in the bush, certainly not with this thing, so that I can't get somewhere and do something else. But I haven't even run out the first tank I ever filled up with. I think I paid $50 for the whole thing filled. Haven't used it, so that's all right. This is a good little setup for now. All right, maybe we should do the tour. How about that? Okay. We'll just start. Start at the beginning. There we go. One 2003 Honda Element. So I've got the headlights are upgraded to LEDs, but in Canada we have daytime running lights. Daytime running lights are not circuits not compatible with LEDs. And in case you want to know, daytime running lights run 80% of your high beams. So they're high beams, but on lower power. All right, that's fine. But LEDs are digital, right? That's either 12 volts or nothing. And with running at, let's say, 10 volts, they don't work. So that's why I added these smaller cubes there. And I just because they're actually Bluetooth. I can run them remotely. And they're multicolor, so they do white, but they do all kinds of color. I usually use them as orange. Then I run my parking lights during the day, so those become my daytime running lights. I added the light bar from my friend Tara. Thank you. Got that from her. Because amazingly enough, you get a little further up north, and people don't understand how high beams work. I will drive, and they've got their high beams on. I flash my high beams on, and they don't do anything. I leave my high beams on. Some of them still don't turn theirs off. So I've got that on there. And that's like, all right, fuck around and find out, and now you get blinded. Oh, there was an offer factory driving light, but these are not driving lights. Those are actually just little convex mirrors. So it's decoration. Looks good, dressed up the front a little bit. The bush bar came with the vehicle. One of the reasons why I like buying it. I added the decal on because mountains and compass, travel. I like it. I'm gonna replace it because I didn't put it on great, but that's there. My attic, I call it, my cargo carrier, which it is offset, yes, because it was centered at one point, but at some point, and I don't know when, and I don't know how, it slid over to the side. I can't even push it back, so I don't know how it moved. It had to be just a weird thing. It doesn't slide anymore, so, but I guess, you know what, being off to the left is fine, because I sit on the right, so balancing the vehicle a little more, because there's a bunch of stuff up there. Upgraded the tires. They're 235 70R16s, Motomaster Eliminator X Trail AT. So they're all terrain tires. And Motomaster is a Canadian tire brand, but these are actually made by Cooper, which was I was looking at the Cooper Wild Peaks, and well, these are made by the same company, so got them. So they're all year round. So they are winter rated. Rain guards, so I 3D print things for vehicles and Honda Elements specifically, and this is made out of a rubber material. Yes, it's very decorative. Amazingly, it works really, really well. It keeps the rain off because when the rain hits here, you can't use them. They're totally useless. These aren't heated mirrors. This helps out a ton. Extra wide mirror. Now, my guy I know, Ben from Ontario Elements, he showed me this little trick about using those guys there. So it's the same mirror, but they're pointed down. It allows me to see right beside the vehicle, so I can tell when I'm backing up in lines. So it's like a poor man's 360 camera. It works really, really well for lining up your vehicle when you can't see the lines below you. Thanks again for that idea, Ben. I know he got it from someone, but he didn't say. All right, so carriage doors open up, so tons of room. Those seats move forward and back, obviously. All right, so these came factory silver. I painted them because, well, the silver was just fading on them. So they match better, more black. So that's the 12-volt heater I mentioned earlier. So that's what helps defrost defog the window because I don't have a defroster. The air blows. Side note, your defrost function runs through the AC of your vehicle. Because in the AC of your vehicle, in that process, there is a dryer, a part that dries out the air. And so it's hot, dry air that blows on the window, and that's what gets rid of the moisture from the window. So when that AC doesn't work, it doesn't dry the air, and it's just air blowing on it, and it's no different than the air that's already in there. So I got hot, dry air from there. This was the original 12-volt splitter, which ran into the factory one. But I had it here, and it never really sat right. So I moved up there, but now I don't seem to need it. Hold on, let's have a plasticky rubber floor. Now they bubble up over time. And no, you can't hose out the inside. That's, when I first heard about these, that's what I thought too, but that's a myth. Because, well, technically you could hose it out, but the water doesn't go anywhere. There are no drain holes. I know Jeeps, for example, and some other vehicles, part of the Bronco, they have drain holes, so you can wash out the inside and the water will just drain out. Here it will just sit and cause rust. So, do not hose out your element. So, 12-volt car holder, camera holder, obviously. This is a cheapy, Android head unit. Didn't quite fit in there, so I mounted it to the back of the Holsey factory radio. Works fine. The mess that is here. I still have to find a better solution for this. So that's the factory one. So that is a small solar panel. And it's like 1.8 watts. It's really, really nothing. But it's a battery tender. So I can then keep charging up the battery, even at a small scale. So the battery is never going to really die. I mean, heavy use, then yeah. But this is just something. Now, this really, besides looking kind of cool, because, why not? Geek, off-roader, overlander, all kind of fun stuff. What I've got is, I have, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this easily. Where is it? There it is. That's my Bluetooth OBD2 reader. So I have a little digital dash app on my phone called Car Scanner. Torque is another popular one used on Android devices, and that talks to the app on my phone through Bluetooth. So I get to see what's going on with the car. I set up a dash so I can get more information, more specific information. I mean, like, I've got a temperature gauge, but it just CH and just swings in between. But now I can get the exact temperature. I'll give you a little more details on it, like especially fuel mileage, because I'm no more interested in fuel mileage than I am for power. But I can give a rough estimate of power that this thing makes. So that has an on-off button, and so you would think turn it off so it's not using power when you're not using it. Problem is I kept forgetting to turn it on, and that was annoying. So I'd open up the app and it's not connected. I have to turn it on over. I've been so screw it. I leave it on all the time. I've got that running all the time, so it's going to be offsetting that because that uses very little power when it's running. This is my 50,000 milliamp hour battery. What are we up to now? 99 almost full charge. Nice. So I've added in a second 12-volt port, and this 12-volt port has obviously like the regular 12-volt outlet. It's got a USB A and a USB C plug, and even a little voltmeter. The finger can't quite in there because it's the lowest low button here. All right, let's move it out of the way. And they're just telling me that it's charging. So a little animation. I don't usually have it on, and if I unplug stuff from it, then it'll tell me the current voltage. So there it is. It's sitting around 12.2, 12.6. So it's on 12.5, which is more than fine. And it's got a little red LED on. That's always on time, so maybe mini security. All right. So 5-speed manual. There is a 6-speed conversion available, which would be really kind of cool to do. Good for like highway mileage, especially doing a bunch of highway driving. These are a bunch of little hygrometers, so I got temperature and humidity, so 50% relative humidity. These are orange tabs I printed, put on, just a bit of decoration. Obviously the glue didn't hold on some of them, but it was just something to do. Steering wheel cover, because the rubber started wearing out on here, and it looked great when it started, but of course now it's all worn out, and discolored, blah. Painted these gauges black. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, so these little cubbies, I made little holders in there because they're not very deep. So now I can put bigger things in there, more. I got one on that side, and there's some over here that I'm slowly trying to I'm going to make, but I need a 3D scanner to do these ones. This is the aux jack for the factory radio. Since I obviously don't use it, so maybe at some point I'll look at converting that, but no rush. Okay, so wires. This is for okay. Look at this. That's for the radio. This runs. So this plugs into here, which plugs into the radio, then allows my phone to be played on the head unit. So I can do wired or wireless CarPlay. It's a little flaky, but it gives me something, and it works. And all right, so now I'm trying to remember everything. Oh yes, this one's for that's for my wireless backup cameras. This has a camera function in it too, but I haven't got the wireless camera plugged in because the wireless signal sucks, so I'd have to reposition it. I just haven't played with it. I bought a wireless tire pressure monitoring system. Well, only one tire picking up, so I have to test the batteries on the other ones. Maybe they're dead, I don't know. But it was useful, and it's solar charged, and it has a USB-C port, so I can charge it up, or I can just let the sun charge it up. Small battery, it doesn't do a lot, but it's useful. Overhead, I got some pins I should put in there. Yeah, let's get lost sticker. No, that's it. LED light conversion on the tops here, on that light, and the back light. My door pockets, because these look great, but you can't put anything in there, so now I can put those. Now, straws. Everyone asks about that. That's a lot. Yes, it is. For the last almost 2 years, these are all paper straws. Both myself and my friend hate these paper straws, so we collect them. Fire starter material. That's all they're for. So yeah, we ever get them, we just throw them in here and keep them for when I'm doing fires, campfires and whatnot. All right, so that's I'm doing a couple other little things up here. So my cup holder, my eject buttons. Those are fun. I got those at a garage sale years ago. I replaced these. The factory rubber ones are really weak, so they don't really do much. But these are really strong. The material I use, it holds up really well. The factory rubber that goes around the parking brake is usually flimsy or altogether missing, and I've made a replacement ones for that, and now you can do colors, which is nice. Right, that's pretty much it. This is the factory subwoofer in it. Then I've replaced the door speakers front and back, so some decent speakers. Problem is I'm still going through the factory amp, and the speakers will clip if I turn up too much. So at some point, that might get changed too. And a couple of things. So these are mala beads. I lived in South Korea for 5 years, and I did a Buddhist temple stay, and we made that necklace. Now, that was a bunch of work, because Buddhists use 128 beads, and they count them. So it's like your rosary beads, same type of idea Christians got. Well, they come for the Buddhists. But anyways, when you put one on, and you get to choose your own design when you're making this stuff. When you put one on, you had to do what's called a full bow. So you put one on the string, you go down to your knees, bend over to your elbows, put your head to the floor, and then lift your hands up from the elbows to raise them up, and then you stand up. And then you go down, do it again, put a bead on, do the bow, and 128 times I did that. I can tell you, by the time I got to the end, my hands were like, "Whoa, get on there, you little!" And I was trying to get on there, so it was a lot of work. It was an interesting experiment. And my air freshener, which no longer freshens air, but political statement. Oh, there we go. If y'all get that joke, then good on you. If not, nah, don't worry about it. And not all mods have to be big or fancy or expensive. One of the smallest and most subtlest mods is one of my favorites. That one right there. That's Bigfoot. Little sticker walking through the woods. I think it just gives me a quick little giggle every time I look at it. And it's subtle. I mean, unless you're really looking, you wouldn't even know it's there. Alright. Now this has a GPS unit, so that's a GPS antenna. But not that I use that on there. I'll just use the stuff off my phone anyways. But I could, if I wanted to, use the internal one. It's gonna be slow and laggy and whatnot, but it's there if I really need it without I don't know if I have to update those maps or not. Okay, so go to the back door. There's a handy little pouch. This is generally gonna keep small power related connectors in here. So 12 volt to 12 volt, little 75 watt inverter. This is a battery charger, runs off a USB, micro USB. Convenient. There's a small little USB charger, some batteries, and some cables. So I keep that so if I need connections, batteries, connect cables, small power inverters, and that just stores in there. And those other speakers are replaced. Okay, there we go. The back cargo net. The cargo net actually came out of my dad's old Jimmy. There's a tailgate cargo net. It's not the greatest setup. I don't really like it, but it's working for now. So I got a blue strap to hold it up because it's very, it's not stretched out. But I keep my Reflectix, which is this silver material back there, and those are my privacy screens, which are separate from Reflectix. So these are just little blackout screens that go into the windows and nobody can see in. They actually have slightly soundproofing as well. Then the Reflectix ones, your standard Reflectix material that keeps things warm. This is a curtain. I folded it in half and sewed pockets and put Reflectix material into it that you can hear. So this is an insulating curtain. So I learned to run this between my sun visors. Now I have a handle on this side, but no handle on the driver's side because it holds onto the steering wheel. But I found that I can do this, and that curtain rod hangs onto here, goes across, and provides a great little privacy curtain holder. That works great. And it's just a curtain. I bought it, giant tiger. And just did a bit of sewing. And the curtain rod, I think it came with another vehicle, and good thing I kept it around. And when I was mentioning about this, all my windows open. So fresh air coming in. Now these are Velcro pieces for the Reflectix. The blackout ones just sit against the window, and I can close the window with the blackouts on if I need to. Just a random magnet sitting here. I was using this originally for the curtain. Just some good strong magnets, but I had to cut it off so that it would actually hold, but still wasn't quite strong enough. So now they're just extra magnets for kicking around. Nothing too fancy here. I had to trim that off so it would more magnet. And so you've got the crates, water balls, which I'll need to fill up. And that's pretty much all the mods I've done. This yeah. I mean, I did redid this backing with a stretchy orange because orange, it was black. I made this printed this seatbelt presenter so it holds the seatbelt. Now the funny thing is, you don't see a seatbelt here, do you? No, it's in the door. So the door's closed, seatbelt goes over. This to kind of help hold it away from the person's neck. Most people don't really use it, but it's there as an option. And these are just, I didn't print these ones, I got them off of Temu or something. There's a grocery bag holders, one there and one there. Oh yes, and I have that black bag right there. That's my snow brush. Now it's in 3 pieces. It takes apart, which is kind of cool. The head swivels, handle comes apart, and the end handle, which has a scraper, comes off too. I keep it during the summer months because I found a use for it all year round. Yeah. Hard to see. Cargo bugs. This is my bug catcher. So I use the brush on there to brush off the dried bugs. Doesn't get it completely clean, but it does a good enough job. That's pretty much the bulk of all the mods to this. I mean, I haven't done anything else major, but that's been an ongoing thing for a couple years. Now I've got the cell phone booster water sticker. And I have one more mod that I got to work on, and I just realized will not work for what I want or where I was going to put them. See, I've got these LED lights. Bought them for another vehicle for a completely different purpose. Hang on. For a completely different purpose. Now I want to use them for mounting lights on the back. Problem is, this particular mount was gonna clip onto here, but I just noticed that once it's open, it's not gonna work. Now, unless I can do this on the side, which I might then do, but that's a problem too. Alright, so it's not going to work. It's not going to work no matter what, because the way that opens up, I can't open it up with these on. At least I don't think so. Hang on 1 second. And you can sit there for a moment. Well, I just try to do some rough sets there. Maybe. Oh, I think I can. I think I can. Just a little bit. Okay, let's do some test setting. No, maybe not. That's a really tight fit. Get the plastic. I have to make sure the bracket's on. Good and tight. Look at that. Ha! Winning. Alright. Looks like I can still use these. I'm worried because I was going to clip it here, but because this opens up the way it does, the light would just hit there. But now, because it's one side goes back far enough, over there, you can still use it. Do the last little. So we're just going to just, like I said, clip it here, but the light would hit, but not there. Sweet. Nice. All right. Oh, that's the new next mod going in. I might just put those brackets on now. I've got the bolts. I can run the lights. I still have to run the power to a switch. So not sure how I'm going to do the power just yet. That's going to be another, that's for another video. Anyways, hope everyone enjoyed it. Have yourself a good one home.